We arrive at China, round number 5 of this Lewis Hamilton F1 24 career mode, and this is the first sprint weekend of the season, and not just any sprint. It's the first time using the updated format which was introduced last year in 2023 for the first time ever in the official F1 game. So we'll see how that goes in just a bit, guys. Previous episode, round 4, linked in the top right, go watch it. But let's get into this one and let's start off with that previous episode at Japan and kind of dissecting the race. Now, we picked up some good driver stats overall now, and we are closer and closer to level 90 overall rating, which we of course need to try and get to 91 to hopefully get a decent contract for next season. Now, I mentioned before, Ferrari caught wind of our secret meeting and our recognition took a hit because of it. We went from 54 down to 52, so Russell pulling back some equal status in their team, but we are still favoured more than George as we also level up our specialists. Now, in that last race, Max Verstappen dominated. We got a very good second place, overtaking Sergio Perez at the last chicane. We now arrive at this one, first off, taken after our specialists, making sure we get everything sorted out for the weekend and making sure we have our goals set in stone. Overall, we're making good progress, and very soon we'll start to have those kind of reductions start to apply on different departments, hopefully over the next 2 race weekends, depending on which ones are available and which ones, take a race off. Either way, we're making good strides and we're starting to really get things to work together now. I mentioned before, upgrades was a bit of an issue. We was actually cleaning up a lot of George Russell's mess because I feel like he was rushing upgrades and they were failing. And we have another failure with the ICE and also on the aerodynamics for the Venturi tunnels. Now, these ones I actually purchased myself, but I got a standard upgrade, so they're still failing even on standard, which is a bit of a concern and a bit of a red flag. We have a few upgrades available for the chassis, but no big discounts at this time, and we did just repurchase the Venturi tunnels. So I went over to the durability, and George's upgrade, the ICE, failed. So we're going to repurchase it because we need that on the car, because that is the component that is wearing out the most on our power unit. With that done, we do receive the ignition system, so we do get a couple of upgrades and also a couple of failures. So we'll kind of recap all of that in a little bit. China though, here we go. First time back on the F1 calendar properly since 2019. Of course, we've done it in past games here and there, but we're finally back. And I mentioned it's a sprint, and we have that tyre allocation, which is different to other races for sprint weekends. So Q1 or SQ1, SQ2, medium tyres, and then soft tyres for SQ3. That's kind of the plan and the rundown for this. The forecast is dry. No rain expected, and this takes us to upgrades. I mentioned before, we've got 2 upgrades on and 2 off, so a couple on, a couple off. Ideally, would it be nice to get all 4? I mean, the ICE doesn't really affect performance, but still, you can see in the performance chart we are second, and we do actually open a bit of a gap to McLaren, who overtake Ferrari, bringing a big upgrade package of their own, along with Haas and also Alpine. Looks like at the bottom there, those guys making a move. V-Carb as well, making progress. So yeah, upgrades coming in, but we are locking in that second place spot. We jump into practice on Friday, 1 single session, overcast conditions in weather here, currently on hards and looking to do our race runs in this session. Now,
okay, dry seem like the best tyre for now.
Literally, as I opened the radio, it started to rain because I felt like we might have had some rain, and literally on cue, it started to fall. Luckily, we've got just enough time not to do all 5 laps, but we are going to get 3, which is the minimum baseline to get a perfect score on the practice program, and also enough data to kind of understand where the car's at. We beat the Delta by over a second, so decent pace overall. Currently P2, Ricardo setting the benchmark, and that's enough for us in practice. Now, we go back to the garage, and oh my god, the tyre wear is ridiculous. Fuel's fine, that's no issue, but that's some serious tyre wear, and I'm a little bit worried. Now, pace-wise, pretty consistent, pretty decent. Now, one thing I noticed was that we didn't really get a true lap time representation because of the conditions. We finished second, but the whole session was kind of, slightly wet, but not wet enough for inters, and everyone was on dries. Now, it was a really weird session, so I don't really know where we stand or what our true pace is. So we're kind of going into qualifying a little bit blind as we marginally improve our driver stats.
Well, here we go again. Welcome back to Shanghai. Welcome back to qualifying in China. And this is a technical, tricky track. Whoever takes pole is going to deserve it.
Here we go. SQ1 sprint qualifying 1 for the first time in F124, and we're on medium tyres, looking to set our first timed lap. Whoa, okay, easy. Nice little rear locking there on the back axle, and pretty much ruining what was actually a pretty decent lap through the hairpin. I'm on 52 brake bias. It is doable, but you just have to be careful with the brakes. But even with the mistake, we finished last after that first run of laps. I didn't realise we was that slow. So we're going to try again. We know where the time is. It's at the hairpin. So if we even improve, throughout the lap, that's going to be a very welcome addition, because the lap before felt pretty decent. Second lap though, on these tyres, I did a cool down lap and now a second kind of flying push. It's a 12-minute session, so you're basically constantly on the track, like in real life, kind of watching how the track improves and lap times improve. Sector 1, we find a 10th and a half, and we're a 10th up on Ocon in 16th. And we have a mixture of compounds, a few softs and a few mediums. Obviously, we're going to try and hopefully get through on these to save our softs for SQ3 or SQ2 if we were to need them. Finding more time though through 6 and 7 and 8. And the lap is coming together pretty nicely as we're 3.5, now 4 tenths up, closing out Sector 2. Now then, into the chicane, we head just a fraction up on Ocon, 200ths through there on the Alpine. Flick it left and then right through the chicane, and now the long banker, get the car down low and try to take a tight line to gain some more time. And we're just about half a second up, heading on the back straight. And this is where the bulk of the time is, of course, with that big mistake at the hairpin. So on the brakes, spot the 100-meter board down to second gear. But we've done it again, even with a brake bias adjustment to 53. I've done it again. We've gained 3 tenths because it wasn't as bad as the last one. But has that cost us? We're about to find out. Up to the line we go, DRS open, and it's only 16th. And with 2.5 minutes to go, I don't have enough fuel or time to go again. So it's over. That is it. SQ1 is finished, and we just miss out by 6 hundredths of a second. So literally that hairpin cost us extremely dearly, and we are out already, and we're starting the sprint race from 17th place, which is absolutely horrific. The worst qualifying of the season so far. Bahrain was, even that was Q3, and we struggled around there. So we also get a big whack on the pace stat, like a really big hit. And we lose a big chunk of overall rating as well. So that mistake proving to be very costly here.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Norris, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Albon, Stroll, Joe, Bottas, Sargent, Gasly, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Hamilton, Ocon, Tsunoda, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
Here we go. Sprint time, new format, P17, and pretty much nothing to lose. Top 8 or top 9 only score points, as we know, so we're going to have to really push to try and get those points and be aggressive on the start. It's going to be a medium tyre, a simple no-stopper. I think everyone is going to suffer on tyres at the end, but the hard tyres we need for the main race. So let's just get into it and see what happens. Fuel, I'm growing for 0.1 extra. Very little we should be able to save in traffic, so I'm not too concerned. So let's get into it and let's see how it goes. Here we go. Worst qualifying of the season. Let's try and make something from it. Here we go. Lights on. Perfect line up on the box. Revs okay. And away we go. Bit of all spin, but we'll take it.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
Oh, straight down the inside. Sneaking on lots of cars. Trying to go around the outside of Zhou, but not quite finding the grip. Keen to see what the straight line speed looks like. We will put a move on the inside of turn 5 on Zhou here. And that is P11 straight away. And now we have a race, although Zhou fights it back. I'm on the outside, I'm leaving probably a bit too much room. And Zhou gets back through. Got on the dirty stuff there, on the dusty part of the track. No grip. So we forfeit P11 straight away, but still we've done a good job here. Good start to get ourselves in the race. There's a big break in the train ahead. Looks like the McLarens could be battling as we lock the rears on our way into the chicane. I'm going to set up the switchback here on the home favourite. Not quite able to get underneath him there. We've got a lot of front understeer. A lot of front end wash. Right, straight line speed test. Here we go. Overtake on. Now we're starting to pull Zhou in. On the brakes, a little bit cautious. Lock up on the way through. But it's a clean pass. We'll take it. They're still side by side up ahead. A little bit of one to the final corner there, but Albon's had a bit of a bad exit.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Tried to throw the dummy there on Albon, but he didn't defend the inside. Perez P6 driving slowly right now. Just trying to take different lines and see if I can have a look at these guys. Now that the DRS is enabled, this race will start to open up a little bit. We're getting dropped here. The AI seemingly using quite a bit of battery, or quite good on their battery. I'm also locking the left front everywhere. I've got to be careful with the left front. But at the minute, the pace ain't looking too great, Chief. We're going to need something. We're getting dropped. And here comes Zhou. I'm trying to recharge the battery. Slight bit of contact there as we bang tyres, but we hang on for now. I'm going to let Zhou go here. I'm more interested in trying to get a battery. We clearly don't have much pace. So that's a bit of a problem. Sargent's looking to get involved. Oh boy. 3 wide. I'm getting squeezed. I've got nowhere to go. Zhou. Sargent. Oh my days. Let's try and get Sargent back if possible. Oh my god. Okay, Zhou, I see you, mate. Sargent just running in wide. And we've got nowhere to go. We've got no pace around it. Absolutely nothing at all. Oh, end plate. Off Zhou's car, currently riding on Sargent's Williams. So we'll look to pass Zhou, who now has a wounded car. Pace is really strong overall. I'm just generally struggling to keep up here. We're about to see the scale of damage on Zhou's car. I've just got so much front understeer and wash, but I don't feel like I can put more front wing on because the back end is going to get very unstable. It's a weird feeling. Temperatures look okay. I might have to go down on tyre temps for the race to get more grip because I'm just struggling so much. Okay, Sargent's broken away, so Zhou without DRS. I'll try and pass him. Realistically though, I don't have a lot of battery. I'm still using like crazy. There's battles everywhere. There's a leading group and there's a second pack, but we're just, even with them losing time squabbling, I'm not fast enough. I get dropped on the exit of the banking massively by Zhou. Like, he pulls 2/10 on me through there, so I can't even challenge him on the back straight. I don't know if my wings are too low or too high. They seem about right, but I've got understeer and I don't seem particularly quick on the straight. I can't stop locking up literally into every corner. I'm putting no brake on. The car won't stop. Either way, Zhou is flashing out of battery as we have a snap in the high speed there. Should be able to pass him as he's low on energy, but we've struggled so much around here that I'm a bit concerned. Even the most logical of passes might get a bit complex. Engine's getting hot. Oh my god, lock up again. I'm nowhere near maximum brake. Oh, we just lose so much through here. Well, I don't know if they have battery on, but I'm out of battery. I've got nothing. Bottas is going to get me. Struggling in the corners and the straights, so I just got nothing altogether. Russell wins a sprint. Bottas tries to go through. We'll get the better drive on the exit. And we'll just get back in front, but literally nothing to rave about. We're in big trouble the rest of the weekend.
Let's keep working hard.
Literally nothing to write home about. Albon, Sargent quicker than us in the Williams cars. Top 8 score points, but was nowhere near. Work to do, and I think Park Fermé's on, so setups are locked. So I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do. Either way, it's now time for the full qualifying.
Well, here we go again. Welcome back to Shanghai. Welcome back to qualifying in China. And this is a technical, tricky track. Whoever takes pole is going to deserve it.
Now, I made a phone call to an old friend and I got in touch with Sim Racing Center. I was in a lot of trouble, so I loaded on the 2024 China setup in a bid to hopefully turn this around, because we are so far off the pace, it's not even funny. We need a miracle. So straight away on the track, a few mistakes on our first lap with these tyres. So trying to get to grips, it feels completely different, you know, and just trying to get the baseline right. And we're going to see what this first lap is across the line, and we go second. That is a lot more like it, a nod of approval, and that is something that is already going to give us a lot more confidence moving forward. So guys, if you want to try the setup out as well and check it out, link down below to Sim Racing Center. I've got a code also linked down below, guys. You get 10% off, so check it out. But anyway, job done in Q1. We get through with that single lap, and we are very low on tyres because of the sprint weekend format. Only 3 softs for the entire qualifying compared to 4, so we have to kind of stretch them out a little bit and make them work. So we're now on a used set for our first Q2 run, and we're going to set a 130.8 P5. Not too bad, but you know, compared to the previous lap, a few tenths away. So we'll take it. It's a decent baseline, and it gives us something to build upon, but we know the lap is not good enough. So now we're going to properly go for it. Pretty much minimum fuel. I've now rearranged the way I'm using my battery throughout the lap, so now I have a good understanding of where the car's quick and where it's slow, and kind of, you know, really getting on the limit. Bit wider at turn 5, just locking the right front at the hairpin, but we kept on pushing throughout the lap. 10th and a half up on Norris in P7, and we find even more time through the chicane and the banker. Now over half a second up as we start to really crank it on with this fresh soft tyre, and now making our way through the final corner, we are going to improve by 0.8 of a second, and we are going to go top with a 129.956, and that is the new benchmark right there as we finish Q2 on top in a Mercedes-Benz 1-2. George joining us in the process. Verstappen only P4, but to be fair, the gaps are pretty close in that top 5. Either way, we're talking big business now with this setup. We are back, hopefully for good, obviously we was pretty quick in qualifying in the shootout, the sprint qualifying. I just didn't get a chance to show my pace because of the mistake I made. So the jury's still out on my pace in the race, but for now, we have pace to fight for pole, and that is all I care about. Currently on our first lap in Q3, used set of tyres yet again to try and get a banker time. We encounter a bit of traffic with Checo, but we cross the line for a 1:31.0, so 2 tenths off our banker in Q2 on old tyres. So a few little mistakes, a bit scruffy here and there, but it gives us something to work with. So we know we have to go just over a second quicker if we want to stick it on pole or fight for pole around here today. So let's get into it. A full lap of Shanghai, starting off with turn 1. Really throwing the car in with this new handling system. You can really just basically turn in flat out and let the front stick. Then into 2 and 3, the apex is really tightened up here. Important to get the drive on the exit, and we get beautiful traction out of there as we end sector 1. Down towards turn 5, brake at the 100. 3.5 tenths up on Perez, by the way, so absolutely flying. Bit of a lock up on the left, on the right front, but we keep it rolling as we now head through turn 6 and 7. Just holding it in 6th gear there, carrying the speed. Probably should have gone 7th to be fair in hindsight. Now into the double lefts, keeping it tidy. A little short shift on the way through. No, we keep it in 3rd and rev it out, which is good. And we're half a second up on our PB through the middle sector. Half a second up on Russell in P4. We have a bit of a lock-up though, and we have a big snapper oversteer through the banking, and we lose the back end a bit as the checkered flag drops. We're still finding time, but I don't know why it hasn't really come together. If you look in the bottom right, I, for some reason, had the car in medium ERS, which is not the first time I've done that this season. Still getting to grips with the new manual battery system, and me showing my, let's say my frustration with that mistake, leaving it in medium. And now through the final corner, I tried to go all or nothing, balls to the wall, absolutely make or break, and it backfired. So only our first lap on used tyres is good enough, and we only get 8th. The pole time was the exact same time as I set in Q2 to the millisecond, exactly the same. So it would have been really close and a really spectacular Q3, but alas, it's not pole, and our streak of 3 poles in a row comes to an end, and Verstappen sticks it on pole around China. Either way, guys, it's been a long weekend, but it's now finally time for the main event.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. A race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then is a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests the driver's patience, and the flat open to the element's location tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and they're available into turn 1 and down the kilometre-long back straight into turn 14. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Fernando Alonso alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Leclerc, Norris, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Albon, Bottas, Sargent, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Gasly, Magnussen, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. Well, Max Verstappen on screen there. Well, they say you're only as good as your last race. And on evidence there, that was very good indeed. How do they carry that form through to today?
You've done it once, can you do it again? But, if you start believing in yourself and the confidence starts to build, that inner confidence is what you need. And you can carry that through to future races, including this one, and you set that ball rolling. That's the critical thing that they're looking for here. And I believe if you've got that first race win or a win at any stage, it can start to roll with you in a good way.
Now then, here we go. Time for the main event. So far this weekend, we're pointless. So we've got a chance to hopefully bag some points. Now, I don't know what to expect. The race runs that we did in practice are irrelevant, and also the sprint race is basically irrelevant because the setup has completely changed, conditions are completely different, literally everything has changed to the point where we're starting on the hard tyre. Even the game had the same idea as me, which was to start on the hard tyre and see how things look later on. So this is going to be a complete unknown. Fuel-wise, we have 0.2 of a lap. My wings are higher than what I was running beforehand, so I think generally I should be saving fuel. My engine braking also is a bit higher, which makes me think we might save fuel as well. Not sure. So we'll just see how it goes and basically learn this on the fly. It's going to be fun. Hopefully the pace shines through. We know we're quick over one lap. Let's see if the setup hopefully translates to race pace, and let's get into it. I can't wait until we find out what the meta is to warm tyres up, because trying to warm them up is literally impossible, especially when the AI go at this pace. You just can't go quick enough to get any tyre temperature. Doesn't help, these hard tyres are like bricks, just impossible to warm up. Really, really tough. Anyway, seems like everyone is on the same strategy. Sainz is the outlier on mediums. We'll have to deal with these tyres and hopefully warm them up throughout the first lap and the first few corners. Hopefully though, a good start, that's going to be key. So we'll knock it into hot lap and get ready. Standard on fuel mix, let's try and line her up good. We've got 0.1 in the sprint. If we're anywhere near that this time, that would be more than good enough. Right, let's do it again. Hopefully, a better result. Lights on. Lights out, and away we go. Oh, quite a wall spinny start, but it kind of worked. Sainz doesn't get away particularly well on that medium tyre. Oh, I can feel I've got no tyre time. Sainz completely cuts across me there. Didn't feel like I was understeering or anything. Sainz just completely tried to cut in. Oh my god, the tyres are completely frozen.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
Going to go back around the outside of Sainz here and try and get that one back. I know he's on mediums, but we'll try and be racy. Oh, hang about. Hello, Lando. Coming through, sunshine. Oh, I've gone way too wide. Up the inside. Oh, aggressive, but we make it count. Battle for the lead. Verstappen being challenged by Juan Fernando Alonso, by the looks of it, as we head through the chicane. Now Perez challenging Alonso. We are just behind George. I've made no changes to the setup from qualifying, so I'm keen to see what it's like in race trim. Straight line speed. Oh, a little bit low, but we can make it work. Gonna have to watch out on battery. Careful for the brake check. Perez is getting slaughtered here as Verstappen locks in that P1. Seems like everybody up here is on the hards. Russell, Perez going at it. Trying to get involved.
DRS enabled.
Trying to get involved here with these guys. Perez back up the inside of our teammate. Leclerc on mediums as well, just like Sainz, so Ferrari opting for the reverse strat. I'm happy to just sit behind George here. I want to see if our pace is legit with the setup change. Norris is going to get a run here. I'm not burning battery, so I'm happy to let him have a look. But we outbrake him. Right, now let's see what the pace is. Gap just starting to open a little, but I am just battery managing. Seem to be very quick in the first sector, so we can gain a lot back in turn 1 alone. At risk of losing DRS here, important to stick with George, which is what we've done. I think we're still struggling a little bit generally, but we're doing a better job and we're a bit more competitive. I mean, the reality is we're also racing quicker cars. In the sprint we were struggling versus Williams and Saubers. Now we're actually keeping up.
Okay, Lewis, George, ahead now. They're holding us up now, so let's please try and get past as soon as possible and get on with our race. Push, push.
Okay, we've got a while to get past him, so we'll take our time with this. No need to rush. Engine's running really hot around here. I'm not even super close, but just the general higher gears, you know, higher revs, you're kind of aggressively downshifting through turn 1 and kind of the faster corners, just putting the engine in a lot of higher temp. Still, this is going okay. This race is looking very good. We seem to perform better once tyre wear, you know, kind of becomes a bit of a factor. On fresh tyres, we're a bit off the pace, but at the minute, things are looking very nice. Leclerc still second on that medium, holding on to Verstappen. Lift and coast is king in this game for engine cooling. That's the way to do it. I've got it all figured out right now. This is looking very good. Now we've got to try and pass George before the objective runs out, ideally. Point still stands that AI get very good exits out of here, which makes it hard to overtake. I think they just get the battery on so early and are super stable all the way through. Got a full charge though. Best chance probably something into turn 1, turn 2. Leclerc's still hanging in there on that medium tyre. Verstappen doesn't seem particularly quick at this stage of the race. So things just starting to open up a little. We need to pass Russell on this lap ideally. I'll see if I can try and get extra close through here. That's not bad. That's not too bad. But we're still losing out on acceleration. I've got the battery on. Russell just has a lot more straight line speed than me. Up the inside.
Okay, nice work. Really good job with that target, mate.
Nice and safe on the brake bias. George braking really, really early there, so we was able to go through pretty easily. George might go straight back through here though with a straight line speed. Here he goes. Side by side. Silver Arrow Civil War. But we go through and lock that one in. We use a bit of overtake just to make sure we stay in front. George very close here. Got to stay on the battery for a bit longer just to make sure he doesn't close in. We probably aren't quicker overall than a lot of these guys, but you know, we're just hanging around doing a good job. Strategy could be key here. Leclerc waiting for him to pull the trigger and box for the hard tyres. For now, he's still going very long on those mediums.
Okay, Lewis. Engine's running very, very hot. Engine's running hot. Let's try and keep it cooler.
Yep, that's a bit more of a realistic challenge for this race, but we should manage. Should be okay. Oh, there we go. Leclerc pits and pulls the trigger. So Verstappen leads, Alonso second, Perez third. P4 for us, ahead of George.
Oh, mate, you made that look easy. Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it.
Job done then. On the engine temp, Alonso didn't quite get within Verstappen's DRS, so that's interesting. We'll see if Max tries to break away or not. I feel like my pace is actually pretty good at this stage of the race with these very worn tyres. Backend's getting very loose now. And Verstappen pits. Interesting. That wasn't our scheduled pit stop lap.
Okay, we want you to pit this lap, so push now, push.
I just hope if we pit this lap we don't stack with George. Right, we're going to box. Hopefully George stays out, that's all I ask. Yes, he does. Happy days. Right then, so they are maybe learning a little bit. Strategy. Good pit entry there, trying to match Checo. Pit stop battle. Please be good, please be smooth, come on. We'll take it. Perez gets held, and we're out ahead. Beautiful, I think. Stroll got held or held Checo up there.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
Going to rejoin just behind Norris for net position. Checo trying to go up the inside straight away. We're going to just get the car to the apex. Imperative here that we get within Norris's DRS and don't let him get away. Signs behind on hards. Full push here to try and keep up with the McLaren. Norris is bloody quick. Making me work for this, but I think we just crept in there. I think I just got DRS. Out of battery. Did we get it? Yes, we did. Huge. Absolutely huge. Russell in.
George is in the pits. He's in the pits now.
Needed that. can't describe how important for our race that is. Alonso's got a decent gap ahead. Verstappen setting the pace, as you'd expect. Russell's going to lose a lot of time here, going long. Right, let's see how this second stint develops. We are no longer in the lead battle. We've lost a lot by staying out another lap. Perez putting big pressure on from behind. I'm just trying to stick with Lando here and let him do his thing. He's got decent pace. Alonso's battling with Leclerc, who's on hards. Verstappen's broken away out front. So at the moment, this is Verstappen's race. The question is, can we get back into that fight for second place? That would be huge if possible. Alonso, Leclerc side by side into the last corner. We're losing a lot of time here. This is why I'm not challenging Norris. I'm happy to just let him go. We've got good pace. And they're still going at it side by side. This is perfect for us. They are still side by side. They've been side by side the entire lap. Only now Alonso gets in front, but just like that, Lando is within DRS range. And so are we. So we're all back in the pack. This is now a battle for second place. Oh, bit of a rear lock up there, but kind of controlling it and making it work. I'm trying to close in on Norris. I want to pass him because Perez has put me under a lot of pressure, and I'd rather have the McLaren behind me than the Red Bull. Completely out of battery here. Come on, let's try and force it. Can't brake too late. Got these boys ahead going at it. It's beautiful though. It's textbook. Around the outside. Through goes Hamilton. We've got to try and stay in front. We're completely out of deployment. Norris just sits in behind and doesn't go for the move, so we'll welcome that. Perez instead goes for the move on Norris. Oh my god, it's all kicking off in this race. But we want Perez off our rear end because he's causing trouble. Perez goes through. Bad news for us. That didn't work out as I hoped. Leclerc and Alonso, this is it. Just going to take a back seat to this. Again, we'll try and put one of these two between myself and Checo if possible. We might get the run here out the front corner. Just like that. Here we go. Using the battery. Leclerc on the hard tyre. Oh my god. Got nowhere to go. Just try and keep it on the track. What a scrap this is. AI getting all their elbows out. We're going to take a wide line there to try and get Perez off the side by side, but we have a big moment putting the power down. Perez back for more. Side by side, just swapping paint. But we hang on for now. Leclerc through an Alonso. What a race. Alonso back again. On Leclerc, these two is going to keep swapping places the rest of the race. Verstappen completely vanishing now, up ahead. We're going to run it back. It's going to be a rerun of the last lap, but this time we're not as close, so we'll just keep momentum rolling. Just need to wait. Again, a bit like Australia. We're not super quick, so the longer we wait for this, the better. We'll get a chance at the end. I'm going to be patient here and trust it will kick off on the last lap. It does feel like Leclerc just has a bit more pace at this stage. Alonso isn't as on top anymore, but we'll see how things happen on the last lap. I've got a decent bit of battery saved, so we're ready for the last lap here. I usually run low on battery. We've seen that before, so that's something to bear in mind for the back straight. We are all over the back of Alonso right now. A bit like in the first stint, we've just got better tyres towards the end of the stint. That was not a great double left-hander though. Just got to stay close. Alonso's out of battery. The question is, how much battery does Leclerc have? That's going to be the big question. The AI though have used. Leclerc's flashing. Yep, he's flashing. Could we get a Japan 2.0? Alonso gets on the taps and opens it up on the back straight, and actually he's got a bit left in the tank. Now we're putting it back. Have we got enough? Another outside move on the last lap. Verstappen wins. Oh my god. Big snap. But we've got the battery and we get ahead of Alonso and we nick a podium. We'll take that. Yes.
Awesome job, guys. My apologies for that mistake earlier on, but we live and we learn. On to the next one.
It's always box office when this man's at the front. Max Verstappen takes the checkered flag.
A great display of dominance today by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they've secured here.
Job done. Very, very happy with that race. A great recovery. Big shout out to Sim Racing Centre, SRC, coming through in the clutch with the car setup, guys. Again, you can check them out, link down below, and use my code for a discount. But yeah, very good race. Points, again. Podium, again. Happy days. Now, if we delve into the details, you can see the combined totals over the race weekend. Verstappen, the highest scorer. We actually outscored George, which is massive, so we'll take that, and that's a very good weekend's work. But let's delve into the standings after those two races. So Verstappen now 11 points in the lead, increases his gap a little bit over us, but not a huge amount, so we'll take that. That's not terrible considering the issues we had all weekend long. We then look at the constructors, and the gap to Red Bull now starting to rise quite a bit. Seems like we're in a battle with Ferrari for second place as things stand, and then we'll see how things develop. Either way, guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. Like and subscribe as always. I'll be back soon for round 6. Until then, as always, a big shout out to the members. Check out the links down below, including SRC, of course, which I mentioned before. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and it's goodbye from me.